Okay, I think usually these podcasts start, Leah, with us welcoming you to the chat, but I think we should include David May's opening advice, which was get your retaliation in before anything happens. Welcome to the Manchester United podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. How are you? How's your day been?
It's been a tough day. We've had a double day today, so we've had 2 sessions, and I'm just about feeling my legs again, so that's always a positive.
Did you enjoy training?
Yeah, it was good. It was really good because it's international week, so everyone's kind of away and there's a lot less players, so we get a lot of time and a lot of focus, which is good for the ones that are left.
Perfect. Maisie, how would you get on with double training?
Hated it. But because of internationals, so that means that you'll have the weekend off, won't it?
We've got a game this weekend, but they're still away until Friday.
Right, okay.
Last weekend off then.
Yeah.
Was it last weekend off?
Yeah.
How was that? Did you enjoy it?
That was great.
Weekend off with nowhere to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What did you do on your weekend off in lockdown?
Not a lot, really. I've got a dog, so walked the dog. Had a little cheeky takeaway. Well, we had Nando's, so it wasn't too unhealthy. And yeah, just chilled out, watched some Christmas movies, watched a few series.
Cool.
I think it's important to ask about the dog. I was going to say, because Amy's dog was a big feature.
Yeah, Betsy, she's so cute. Mm-hmm. I've got a dog called Rhubarb. He's actually just had his haircut today, so he's nice and fresh looking.
Where did Rhubarb come from?
Well, I didn't have a choice in the matter. I basically got handed a dog and got told this is called Rhubarb and this is your new dog. So can't really do anything about it, but I actually really like it now.
Yeah, that's cute.
Rhubarb.
We always go back to the start with our guests to growing up. So we'll do the same with you. Tell us about life growing up, your sporting interest. Where did that come from in your family?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Harrogate. Lovely place. And the best club nearest to me was Leeds United. I'm not going to be a big fan with the United fans after this, but I started my career at Leeds United, to be honest, because it was the best academy around. So I actually grew up through my whole career playing for Leeds, and now I play for Man United. So it's just a bit of a turnaround, but yeah. It actually came from my dad. My dad used to play a lot of football. He played up until he was 52.
Good effort.
Yeah, isn't it? He started from.
It's nearly like you now.
Oh, it'd be 2 years, yeah. You know. Every week she has a dig at me age.
Sorry,
Leah.
But his recovery, he was taking like weeks to recover in between games. So like he just knew it was time to pack in because obviously his poor legs were just gone. He started playing on the left wing, just like me. So I think that's where I get it from. And eventually he had a few health issues and had to revert back to playing in goal, which I'd never want to do. But he was actually really good. And I used to train with him every day. I used to go to every single game with him. And we were literally best buddies for like the first 15 years of my life.
Wow.
Aww, that's so nice.
You'll have Helen crying, eh?
What team does he support?
Leeds United fan.
Oh,
yeah.
Just making sure.
Well, Leo, it's been a wonderful podcast. Thanks for coming on.
I knew that was coming.
How does he feel about you playing for United?
You know what? He loves it. He loves coming. Obviously, when he can come to the games, he loves coming to watch, and he's not bothered. He follows the men's team now. Obviously, I do too. So like, he just doesn't tell any of his mates. You know.
Well, as long as they don't listen to this, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So, what was childhood like for you? Did you like school? Were you sociable? Did you stay in?
I was very dedicated as a kid. I mean, I never really went to like any parties, anything like that, because I had training. I remember my schedule. My dad used to take me every day, and it was like finish school, come home, get changed, straight out to training. Used to 3 times a week go to Leeds training, then go straight to weights at Leeds Met and do my strength sessions there. If I wasn't doing that, I was going to academy. If I wasn't doing that, I was playing a game. So 6 days out of the week. What age is this from? This was from, I will have been about 13.
That's quite intense, isn't it?
Yeah. I started, like, it was quite young, so I was in the academy at Leeds, so it started quite early. But I think that's
How,
why
how
my
did you get
dad,
into the academy in the first place?
my dad got a phone call from the academy owner, and he said, "We really want your daughter to come trial. We've seen her playing," because I used to play at Harrogate Town, Harrogate Railway, and they wanted me to go trial for Leeds. And I said no. I said, "No, Dad, I'm too scared. I don't want to go." And he said, "Okay, like if that's what you want, you don't have to." And then 2 weeks later, he got another phone call from the same guy saying we really wanted to come down. And I remember him turning to me and saying, "Just give it one go. If you're not good enough, you don't like it, it's fine." He was like, "Just go once and see what happens." And I loved it. I got invited to the academy, and that's where I progressed through up until the open age.
So at that point when you had the opportunity and you said you didn't want to do it and you were scared, so you're dedicating hugely to football and playing lots of football, but I suppose at that time the Women's Super League didn't exist, and it was a very different era in the women's game. So were you doing it because you loved it, or because you thought there's a life for me in this if I keep going?
I was doing it because I enjoyed it. And I think that's why I turned down the opportunity to go and trial straight away, because I was scared about that and I didn't think it was going to make me happy. So I didn't want to do it if it wasn't going to make me happy. Because at that time, like you say, you couldn't really earn a living from playing football. Like there wasn't anything going on here. So I was just doing it for pure enjoyment. And it was more of a routine for me. Like I'm really big with routines and I like knowing what I'm going to do in every day. So as a kid, I think it was good for me to know, like, on these days I've got this, on these days I've got this. And it was so much fun. Like I used to go training and my dad used to drive me home. We used to stop at the fish and chip shop every week and get fish and chips and share them in the car. Like it's just the little things like that I remember that makes me so happy that I did it.
Was there any time when you were actually growing up that you'd end up, or you'd ever think you'd end up where you were? Was that your dream, or what was you like at school as, if you didn't have football, what would you have been? Or what would you have done?
I still don't know to this day. All the way through school, I used to obviously play with the lads in the playground. Used to kick the ball around, and they all used to be like, "Oh,
Was you best in the school?"
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't say it quietly. Be proud.
Yeah.
And all my teachers used to be like, "Listen, where are you heading? You know, like into sixth form, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" And I used to be like, "No, I want to play football." And they all used to laugh at me. They used to be like, "Play football? Like where? Like what are you gonna do?" And I used to be like, "No, I'm playing football. Like that's what I'm gonna do." And I remember I got my first England call up, and I went straight to this one teacher that I didn't like, and she always used to doubt me about playing football. And I was like, "Read this letter." And she was like reading it. She was like, "Oh, very good. You're going to play with England." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right. Damn right. I'm going to play for England." And made a big scene about it. And forever after that, she hated me. So it was great.
That's cool. That's so good. Have you ever seen her since?
No, but I would love to see her. I would love to see her.
Is she still at the school?
Yeah, I thought
Well,
about
there you
going
go.
in sometimes, but I never end up doing it when I go back to Harrogate.
You got to do it. Got to do it. See
Who
your
were your
face.
heroes growing up, Leah? Football heroes, sorry.
I was obviously at Leeds, so at the time, Sue Smith was front runner, on the wing, number 9, scoring loads of goals with all the funky hairdos. And she was someone I really idolised at that point, because obviously she was doing really well for herself and she was like in the England squad and she was big time. So she was definitely someone I used to follow and want to be like. And obviously you've got like your main footballers like Messi and Ronaldo, but I never had a huge interest in the men's side at that point, because obviously when you're younger, it's kind of like you want to watch the women's teams play, you want to go and follow in their footsteps. So, but now actually I watch a lot of football, watch a lot of men's football and trying to take a lot of tips from their games, because I think it really helps in our games. So I do a lot of that, and my other half doesn't agree, but it's good for me because I get to watch football all the time.
What do you think are? I only ask because you say you watch it and you pick. What do you think are the main differences for people that maybe are listening and haven't watched the women's game as much, or might listen to this and go, "Oh, I should go and watch the next game." What do you think? Well, I said it already. What do you think are the differences?
I think, you know what a lot of people tell me when they come and watch a game of ours for the first time, and I'll speak to them after, And they'll always say to me, God, I didn't expect that. And I'm like, what didn't you expect? Like, it's football. And they're like, yeah, but you all were just so like aggressive and strong and like flew into challenges and like, you know, didn't go down easy and just got on with it. If you get headbutted, you got up and you got on with it. And I'm like, yeah, because it's more to us than diving on the floor and getting a foul. Like, I think that's one thing you rarely see in the women's game is like stuff
Cheats.
like that. And yeah, and I know it's not like they're not doing it on purpose in the men's game, but it's very highlighted because obviously like they can win tactical fouls and all this. And I think that's like the biggest thing that stands out for me, like just our resilience on the pitch.
Your honesty, that's what it is.
And do you think that's a flaw
In the men's game?
No, because the reason I asked the question is because if I'm watching children's football or men's football or women's football, it's just football, and I wouldn't pick up on things like that, and I never have watching women's football. But so, do you think that's maybe a naivety? Do you think it would make more sense to look to win those small advantages because those can win games?
I don't think it is a flaw. I think it's a good thing. I get like if you do get hit and it is you know, like nowadays refs aren't so good, especially in our league, unfortunately, like pulling stuff up if you don't go down. So I understand why people would, but at the end of the day, if you get kicked and you go down and you get kicked and you don't go down, it's still a foul. It still should be given. I would just rather not be dramatic and fall on the floor.
Because you're honest.
I think that's a good answer.
Because you're honest. All those in the Premier League are all cheats. They're all trying to buy
a sweeping statement there, but
huh? Well,
that's a sweeping statement. All of the Premier League are cheats.
Well, not all the Premier League then, but certain players in the Premier League then. Let's look at it that way. Go down way too easy and try and buy fouls. But I think in the women's game, as Leah just said there, they're more honest. They'd rather stay on their feet than go down and roll around and look like they've been shot.
Yeah.
And then just get up and then carry on with it as if nothing's happened. That's what they do in the men's game.
We'll go back to your career. And what was it like when you finally joined the Leeds Academy and getting up to making your debut at 16? What were those years like? Do you remember them, or were you just focused and just getting on with it?
It was all just, them years were just, they were the years I was grinding without thinking about anything. So I was just training every day, trying to improve the little things. Or I was playing with a lot of players that were older than me as well. So I think that really benefited me. They brought a lot of experience and they were really good people. So I always wanted to learn off them and I never felt like I couldn't do something. So yeah, when I started playing for the first team, it was a really good moment for me. I'll never forget that.
Just 16 as well.
Yeah,
pretty young. Like, so young. When you look back now at 16, you obviously think that, you know, you're quite grown up, but you're not. You're a child at 16, really.
Yeah, I was a baby, and I think it was. I know I see it like that now when you say it, and it is an achievement. But in the moment, obviously, you don't think that, and you just think that's the norm and that's the way things go.
I suppose if you were surrounded by people who are older, it you know, it is a little bit different for you than if you were surrounded by people who were all 16. But at this stage, you're playing with ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not teenagers. Was there anybody in that youth setup or when you were around 15, 16 that you've met on in later years? Did you have quite a successful youth team?
It was a pretty good team, yeah. I remember we got to the cup final that year against Sunderland, and that was a big thing because we had never got there before. We lost in the final, but I remember I feel like we played so well because we were such a team. Like, it was not that we were the best team, but we were so together and we just enjoyed playing football together that we did so well that year. And I still know a few of the girls now. I follow them on social media and stuff like that, but not many of them are playing anymore, which makes me sad, but it is still nice to catch up with them. And I think I've had a few messages from a few of them saying like they're proud of where I've got to and stuff. So that's just nice for me.
So from 16, you went on to make 30 appearances for Leeds. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know.
We'll go with that one. And I suppose at that stage of your career, that was the only thing in your sights to continue playing football.
Yeah, I mean, at one point I thought I might be there till I retire because there was nothing else. So to me at that age, I was like, wow, I've already got to a team where I could be here forever. So it was an interesting feeling. I didn't really know where I was going to go. And then from that, you're right, I didn't really have many options. And then I heard about going to America, and this was the next big dream. And yeah, that's where I went.
Your next big, had that always been a dream for you?
As I got to 15, 16, and there was not much else available, like around here to go to or go elsewhere, I had looked at going to America on a scholarship and going to play in a college over there. And I think that was, for me, the next thing that I could do and the only thing that I could do. So that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Was you encouraged by your parents then to go? Because obviously the little daughter's leaving home and...
Well, I'm the youngest, I'm the baby, and obviously my mum was like, it's going to be difficult. But I was such a home bird that I was really unsure about going because I had never really left to go anywhere. But then I don't know what it was. One day I was literally like, no, I'm going. I've got to go. I was only 17 at the time. So obviously I was quite young still then. And I had been offered a full scholarship. So obviously I didn't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
Didn't have to worry about the financial side. And it was in New York. So I was like, well, New York, yeah. I'll go live in New York.
So eventually you did go. How was the process of leaving? Did you find it upsetting or emotional, or were you like, can't wait to get started? Also, what did you study?
I'll just answer the first question first.
Yeah,
just so I remember. I, to be honest, to this day, at 26, leaving my family on that day on the airplane in the airport was probably one of the hardest things I have ever done. I remember my mum was in tears. My dad was even crying. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this, but like the emotions were just ridiculous. Like I knew I was getting on that plane. I was going somewhere I'd never been before, and I wasn't coming back till Christmas. So at 17, for me, that was huge.
On your own?
And yeah, on my own. Well, I was going with another girl from England, but I didn't particularly know her. So it wasn't like I had the confidence. Yeah. But luckily I had this girl, she's called Chloe Dale. She was a lovely girl. She played in Birmingham. So we got to go out together, which was really nice. And I knew, obviously, we didn't know each other, but just by means we got really close. So obviously we went out together, which was nice. But we got there in August until October. I struggled really bad with homesickness. That was the worst thing for me. And obviously in pre-season over there, we got smoked every day, twice a day in the heat, and dealing with that and feeling homesick at the same time was probably the hardest month that I've ever had to comprehend within my life.
How did you get through it?
Skype, FaceTimes, trying all the American food, eating my feelings.
I've never heard that saying, eating my feelings.
Yeah, obviously there was a lot of amazing things that I wanted to experience while I was out there.
And you were on a campus?
Yeah, we were on a campus. Yeah.
And what was that like?
Beautiful. Hofstra isn't even one of the biggest schools in America, but to me it was huge because every campus over there is pretty big. But yeah, the facilities were amazing. Food was amazing. That was the best thing for me. Got a little bit chubby in my first year because I ate a bit too much food. But
what was the football like when you first arrived? What differences did you notice?
Soccer.
Obviously, it was college football, so it was different in many ways. Like everyone was in a similar age group, so obviously you only have like a certain amount of years to complete college. So no one was older than 22. So it was kind of like I had gone from playing with girls that were up to 30 plus to back into, okay, these girls are between 18 and 22. And it was, I don't know how to explain the difference, but that automatically changes how the dynamics work in a team. And in America, they're very strict on, you're a freshman at the bottom of the pile, then you're a sophomore, then you're a junior, then you're a senior. So you work your way up the ranks. And they're very like, that's how it goes.
Okay. So you can't get above your station, really?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
So in freshman year, you do everything. You're the ball girl, you're the water girl, you're everything, no matter what.
And you've come from playing in a senior team. That's quite difficult.
Yeah. It was hard.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't know anyone. So it was that, as well as not knowing anyone in my team, being in a different country, and being ball girl and running after all the balls and collecting them all for everybody who had just stood there.
What was the level of skill like? Did you find it easy? Did you find it hard? Or
I think I brought a lot tactically. Physically, it was very hard. They're very, very physical, strong, fit, everything. They spend a lot of time in the gym. They spend a lot of time doing work on fitness. They're not as much ball related. Well, they're not as much tactical related.
Yeah.
So I think having an English coach, which was Simon Riddoff at the time, he was good at using what I had brought tactically to the team, and I think that helped a lot.
where would you be in the pecking order of the best?
Well, I'm going to answer for you very quickly, because didn't you've got you're the second highest goal scorer in the program of 46 goals in a season, is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
And tied for most assists at 26.
Yeah.
So did all right.
Did all right, actually. Yeah, I had a great time. After, obviously, the first couple of months, which I found really hard, it kind of passed, and I kind of became really independent, and I kind of changed who I was. And I was more myself at that time, and I was enjoying being in college. I was enjoying meeting new people. And I think it came out in my football, because I was doing really well. And we played twice a week, Friday nights, Sundays. And physically, I was getting better, and tactically, I was standing out. So I think that really helped with my performances.
Friday nights and Sundays, that's an interesting agenda.
That's just a nightmare weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. Not much recovery time there, is there?
No, I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking about enjoying yourself. Friday night in the Big Apple.
That's what Sundays were for.
There will be, I imagine, some people that don't fully understand what came next when you just completed your 4 years, which you then entered the draft, right?
Yeah.
And you were the 13th pick. How was that experience for you? Because I guess by that time had you been watching it each year as everybody else had sort of moved on and so on?
I knew about it. I didn't really watch it that much. I didn't really know what happened in a draft. And my American teammates had to tell me what was going on, because I didn't have a clue.
Even when it came to your turn?
Yeah, I was sat
amazing.
there with all my teammates in a room, and they were just like, "Oh my God, this is so exciting." And I was like, "Oh yeah, this is great." Like, I don't really know what's going on, but cool.
Leah, you're going to have to explain, because I ain't a clue what's going on. What's a draft?
Basically, you know the league out in America?
Yeah.
You've heard of it, yeah. They get picks every year from college players. So when they graduate, you can pick certain college players that go in. So anyone that wants to enter the draft can. And then them teams will specifically pick out players that they want in like number order kind of thing. I got picked 13th, which was actually pretty good. I didn't really know what it meant, but Sky Blue drafted me 13th. So I knew I was only going across the road, which was nice. I wasn't going to the other side of the country, which could have happened. So I could still come back and see everyone.
Do you get a choice in that?
No choice.
Really?
Yeah, you can.
Because obviously I've seen it in
anywhere.
basketball and stuff, and I'm thinking, but there must be a choice.
No, I do have no choice. I think it's for the week before, the coaches from the teams can be in touch with you if they're interested. So they can give you a heads up and say, listen, if we get our choice first, we're going to pick you. If we get our second choice, we're going to pick you. So I had I think it was 3 or 4 of the teams coaches had rang me. So I could have been going to any of them.
Was there any of those options that you wouldn't have wanted to go to?
No, to be honest, I was happy going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I thought, if that's going to be my time to get drafted to go professional, then I will literally go anywhere at this point. Because I think living for 4 years in a new world, literally, in America, I had changed how I thought about things. So I thought, if anything, it's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like when you joined Sky Blue and suddenly you were playing at a club beyond the college level, or I guess a bit like going back to Leeds?
Yeah, again, it was open to all age. It was literally it was 21 and above, really. That was also interesting, because you had a lot of people with a lot of different experience. So like you had a lot of American national team players, which was amazing to play against people like that and play with people like that. We had Kelly O'Hara in our team and Christy Rampone, and they brought a lot of experience, and that was amazing. But going from being at college, being able to go out and party, being pretty free, to all of a sudden being in a house with the girls that you don't know again, to training every day, to being in competitive games was difficult. But I knew it's something I wanted to do, and I was started to get paid for playing, which I had never been paid before. So that to me was where I started to make my future look good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any thoughts at this time about, because the WSL were coming to fruition and getting a little bit more momentum, did you ever think about coming back to England?
I have not thought
because
about it.
Because you was having such a great time in New York, that you thought, I'll stay here a few more years.
Didn't even cross my mind.
No.
I honestly didn't think about it, to be fair, because obviously I hadn't played in the league here, so I didn't even know what was going on. Yeah. Obviously I saw it over a lot of social media, but it didn't cross my mind. And I think I was just thinking the longer I can be here and kind of build up my rapport and like get game time and stuff, the better.
And earn money.
And earn money, exactly.
What did you buy with your first wage?
I think I went out for breakfast and I bought.
I was going to say, was it food related? And it was.
Food again.
It was a bagel with cream cheese and bacon in it.
Oh, not bad.
The ones in America are pretty big too.
Yeah,
not just your average size bagel.
Yeah, and I remember sitting there and thinking, oh, what a life.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
Tell us about you suffering quite a bad back injury. Was that when you were at Sky Blue?
Yeah.
And how far into your time there?
I think it was in my second year of being there. So after the first year, I got a contract extension, stayed for another year, and I think it was not far into my second year. I slipped one of my discs in my back. And that's probably one of the most painful injuries I've ever had. Touch wood, there's no more, but I was out for a good, I think it was like 6 months, and walking anything caused me a lot of pain. And in America they're very quick to want to get you back, so it was kind of like, right, you're going in for injections, you're going to try this, we're going to do that, and nothing really worked. And I think it was a bit too soon. So I'm just glad it's over now, and I'm hopeful that my back won't give out on me again.
I'm going to move us on, a little bit quicker, because we haven't even nearly got to Manchester United. Tell us about leaving America and going to Germany. What was that process? What were your thoughts behind it?
I didn't particularly get on with the manager at Sky Blue anymore. So I thought it was a good time for a change, and I came home, and that summer I met my partner, who it wasn't a decision to stay purely because of that. Obviously I wanted to stay and not leave, but it was also a really good timing in the fact of I wanted to change up my career as in where I was playing. So I stayed home and spoke to my agent about moving. And
when you say home, sorry, you mean England now?
Sorry, yeah.
England.
And there was an offer for me at Bayern Munich, obviously in Germany, and the professional club like that to be interested in me, I was like, yep, let's go.
Wow.
What was that? Obviously, totally different country than America. Language, lifestyle.
Yeah.
You've gone from like one to the different extreme.
America's obviously very relaxed.
Yeah.
Very laid back. You kind of like, we were in a couple of hours in the morning and then we were free for the rest of the day. And then you go to Germany, and don't get me wrong, that setup and the professionalism is unbelievable. Like I've never seen before. But you were in from 10 till 6 every day. So like it was, for me, it was hard to adjust from being in for just a couple of hours and having a bit of my own life to go into, I'm in work all day. Don't know the language.
What did you do in those 8 hours?
We would meet for, obviously it was great because you'd meet for food in the morning, you get fed at campus.
You love food, don't you? Did you know when you spoke to your agent, did you actually think about the canteens first?
Yeah,
can you go and check out the canteens and the grub you can eat and the huge sausages over there? You can get the bratwursts.
He sold it to me when he said you get fed 3 times a day. So I was like, yes.
You get like prison.
And I get paid? What?
Yeah.
So go on. Your daily routine in Germany is get up, breakfast.
Eat, and then you do like analysis or a team meeting. You would have training for a good couple of hours. You'd have recovery, massages, whatever you needed for the day. Because obviously I didn't speak German, I would have German lessons.
Following that, you then did you decide to take a break from football for a bit? Is that what happened?
Yeah. So I was at Bayern, I think, for 3 months about, and I think it just became too much for me. And the fact of, like I say, like it was such a big change, and I didn't know the language, and it was really difficult to communicate with my teammates, which is usually what gets you through when you're in somewhere else, like it did in America. And I really struggled, and then I began to miss home, and I didn't want to play my football there, and I thought I should go somewhere else to give it my all, because I knew I wasn't playing great because I wasn't happy. And if I'm not happy, I don't play well. So I didn't want to just be there to be there. I wanted to go and be happy somewhere so I could play well. And that's when I decided that I had a bit of a dilemma, and I was like, do I want to play football? Like, is this really for me? Like, I started to question a lot of stuff. So I wanted to have a bit of a break, see if there was something else that I found that I was good at. And yeah, that's why I just decided to call it from there.
This might be too simplistic, so sorry if it is. But that story sort of made me think about earlier when you said about not wanting to do the original trial with Leeds. Do you feel like you're someone who just loves football, and so you want to play it when you can enjoy it and when it makes you really happy, not because it can earn you money or because it can be a job, just because it's your passion and you love it?
Yeah, exactly. I always said, my dad always said to me, if it ever becomes a job and you don't like it, it's not worth doing. And that always kind of stuck with me, because I was like, that's what I felt in Germany. I was like, this now feels like work. I'm going to work. I'm not off to train. I'm not off to see my team. I'm going to work. And I was getting paid, but it wasn't worth being paid to do something I don't like. But that's why at Man U, I feel like I don't even have a job, because to me, it's not a job. It's just, I'm going to kick a ball around with my friends and we're good at it.
Did that happen? I don't know if it's right. It was reported last year that you'd asked not to be considered for England.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And does that play into any of this? Is that maybe because you didn't want the pressure of having to do that, or it felt like something extra that maybe you wouldn't enjoy as much?
Yeah, I did. I said I didn't want to be considered, purely because my confidence, obviously coming back from being out for 6 months, was like down here. So I knew that to go to England, I want to be up here, and I want to make sure I can give them everything, and I want to be happy there, because if I'm not happy, like I said, I won't play well. And right now, obviously, I know it's been a good year since that happened, but I still feel like I'm finding my feet, and I'm just getting consistent at Man United, and I want to do that for a good amount of time before I consider then changing it up again.
Mm-hmm. When did you first hear about Manchester United creating a team, and when did you first hear of the interest for you?
It will have been, it was about, I had been out for a good 5 months, I think, and obviously I'm not training because I'm not playing for a team, and
What did you do for those 5 months though?
Obviously it was kind of summer, wasn't it? By the time I got back, it was kind of going from spring to summer, so I just did what I hadn't been able to do, and I went out and met my friends, went out with my family, and I had a good time. I just wanted to do everything that I had never been able to do. And
you've sacrificed a lot though, really, haven't you?
Yeah. And
considering go on, sorry.
Yeah, I got bored of it very quickly. I did it for a couple of weeks, and I was like, wow, I have no schedule, I have no routine, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just...
Wait till you retire.
Yeah.
Wait till you retire. Well, you might end up like your dad playing to 52, but there's nothing worse because
Yeah, I can
that's
imagine.
it is because he just stops and you think, oh, I'll go play golf, I'll go on holiday, enjoy that, but you miss it so quickly. You
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
I totally understand where you're coming from there. Totally.
yeah. Like at first I was like, oh, this is great. I don't have to get up at this
Yeah.
time. I don't have to run around. I don't have to do.
Eat what you
Then
want. Yeah.
yeah. And then after a couple of months, I was like, nope. I was like, nope. I need it back. I really need it back. So then I think it would have been June time. I heard that obviously Man United women were creating a team, and obviously because it was all over the news. And at first I was like, Man United, I can't play for Man United. I'm a Leeds fan.
Famous last words.
Yeah. Casey got in touch with me and we had a meeting and she brought me in and I came out of that meeting thinking, wow, yeah, that is the team I want to play for and that is the coach I want to play under. That was another moment where I was in there and I came in one person and went out a different person. And I was so ready and so focused to just get back into it that I was excited for me too.
Had you met Casey before?
I'd never met her before. I'd just obviously seen her play and seen her on TV. So it was I don't even know what the word is. It was just a very interesting moment when I saw her sat in the office at Old Trafford, and I felt like I had to be very, very professional about it, obviously, because I hadn't been in a meeting, I hadn't been in contact with people like that, and going from doing nothing to being in there, I was like, wow, yeah, this is real, and I'm gonna do it.
What did she say to you?
She told me what her philosophy for the team was and the kind of team she wanted to build, and that had me interested right away. Obviously, I know I'm a Leeds fan and my whole family is, but when a team like Manchester United comes asking if you want to play for them, it's like, wow, okay, like one of the biggest club is wanting you to play for them. Like that's when all jokes aside kind of go, and you're like, yeah, like this is real.
We had this chat with Alan Smith, and that's more or less what he said.
Yeah, it's like obviously when I didn't have a chance. I thought I had no chance of playing for Man United women's team. So I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'd never play for them anyway. But then when you sat in an office with the head coach at Old Trafford, it's like, okay, like this is big.
Had she been watching you throughout your career? Did she say that to you?
I think she thought that she knew my potential, and that's what she wanted to invest in more, I think. And I was really excited to work with her because no coach I had ever been with before had said they were excited to see me grow into what I could be.
And do you think that's a strength of hers?
Yeah, I do. And she's stuck to her word. And I think a year and a half later, I'm getting to where I think she thought I would be.
Is there any part of your family, any of your friends, any of your teammates or anything like that give you stick for playing for United?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of my PTs from Harrogate is a Leeds fan through and through, and every time I go home to work out at his gym, he rips me. He won't even let me in the gym in my Man United training kit. And he's like, next time you're over, I'm going to get a tattoo of the Leeds crest on your chest underneath where you would wear your shirt. And I'm like, oh no.
So tell us about the team being built. Did you know any of the other girls? Obviously, you'd spent all of your career away in America and Germany. Did you know any of the other girls?
I had no idea who was going to be there when we turned up. Not a clue. But obviously when we turned up and I started seeing faces, I was like, wow, yeah, I recognize these people. Yeah. And like I had played England youth teams with like Alex Greenwood, with Zell, with Jess, you know, like there's a few of them that I recognize, and I was like, wow, like that was a good, like, you know, 5-6 years ago. And now I'm seeing them again at a brand new team that I didn't even know I would be here and seeing them. So that was just the maddest day. Like I can't even explain. Like it was surreal. But that's when it started to kick in, and seeing the people in that room, I knew we were going to be a good team.
Mm-hmm.
So what did it feel like when the team were finally together and playing and you'd scored your first goal and having action?
I knew I was back to where I wanted to be. I don't think there's quite a feeling like it when I pulled on the Man United shirt for the first time, sent my dad a picture because I knew he'd be mad.
I was just going to ask you that. What was it like putting the United kit on first?
Did he not
was
come to your
fine.
first game?
Yeah, I think he did, but he was definitely sat there with his Leeds shirt on.
Please,
But it was almost like a proud moment because I had looked at where I had been and then how I had kind of dropped off from playing, and then now I was back at one of the biggest clubs. It was weird. It was almost like it wasn't real. And then obviously we did really well the first year, and that was the first time I had won like a major league or anything like that for a while. So the feeling was amazing to have that feeling and win something like that and know that next year we were going to be with the bigger teams and playing in the best league.
Did you have any doubts about joining the team and being in that league initially, or did you all have confidence that we're only going to be here for a year?
I think we knew that we only had to be there for a year.
Yeah.
We still had to perform. We still had to win the games, which we did. We delivered. But I think it was good for me because I haven't obviously played. So going into the division below was a better start point for me, so I could build up from not playing instead of going straight into a top flight league. Mm-hmm. So I think that season gave me a good time to find my feet again. Because obviously after 6 months out, I was rusty. Like I wasn't performing to my best ability until definitely like the last half of the season. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that wasn't in the top flight. I'm glad it was in the championship where I could have not my greatest games.
What about your fitness levels? That must have been tough to get back. 6 months is a long time.
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to lie. I said pre-season in America was hard, but this was probably on par, if not harder. I struggled. I complained a lot to all the girls, made a lot of friends who complained quickly too, but pushed through it. And, you know, I think because I've done so many pre-seasons before seasons, I knew that I would find my fitness pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So after a couple of months, I felt good and I felt back in shape. So I think it was nice to know that my body would turn it around and I was back to where I had left off, really.
Obviously, Germany was, you know, a difficult time for you. You didn't necessarily enjoy it. Parts of America probably were the same for you. Did you take any of that with you mentally when you went to play for Manchester United, those low moments? No,
I don't think I did, purely because I was so happy that I was playing football again. So already taking my happiness of just being back in a team onto the training ground, I was already enjoying it. And I wasn't thinking about anything that had happened to me in the past. I was just thinking, it's a new challenge, it's a new opportunity. I'm just going to do as much as I can. And looking at it now, like when I sit down and speak to you about it, it's crazy because like I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time and I'm really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of new challenges, last season I suppose was a double header. First season in the Women's Super League, and then the season is stopped and the world stops.
Yep.
What was that like and how did you cope with it all?
That was just weird. I still don't really know what's going on at the moment, to be honest, but I think the stopping was annoying because I had been out injured for a couple of games, came back, was ready to go, was flying in the game against Everton, scored twice, we won 3-2. Just literally getting to the point where I felt good, confident, fit, everything. And then they're like, right, the league's over. We're locked down. You have to work out from home. I was like, what? No, not right now, please. But I think it goes along with like, I miss my family, you know, like I've not been able to see my family just like in America. Like I kind of know how to deal with it now. So I think it hasn't been as hard for me because I've dealt with these things in the past.
Very true.
How as a team did you all stay motivated and did you have, I don't know, WhatsApp groups or team meetings and stuff to keep that team spirit alive?
Yeah, the staff did a lot of work, to be fair. We had loads of groups with like challenges in and like cooking challenges or like challenges in the garden with a ball and a bin, like really like basic stuff that we could do. But it was really good because I would still get to see like all my teammates on Zoom twice a week. So I still felt really connected, but we were just not seeing each other in person.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel when you hear the words from Casey describing you as the best left winger in the country?
This is what I do every time. I just I laugh because I'm like, to me, that's like amazing. Like, I don't even know how to explain that. Like, when someone tells you they think you're the best winger, it's like, what did you say?
Especially when somebody like Casey is telling you as well.
Exactly. Like, I don't believe her because I don't think that of myself, which I should. Right? I should think that if someone's telling me, but I don't think I'll ever think I'm the best because I feel like I have so much room to improve, and I'll never be at a point where I'm like, I'm the best and I don't need to do any more. But it is very good for my confidence, and I think that's something I need to work on a lot. But when someone's telling you that is good, and it makes me smile, and it makes me think, yeah, you know what, if she thinks that, then how many other people think that? And you know, I should think that, and I should believe in it. And you know, the more and more I start to perform and have consistent games, the more I start to believe that it could be true.
What aspects of the game, you say about improving, what aspects of the game would you personally like to improve on?
I want to be more, I want to score more goals for the team. I want to be more, I know assisting is great and everything, but like if I can, you know, dig out a win for us, even if it's 1-0 and when we're drawing 0-0 with a big team, that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to be the impact player that delivers when we need someone. And I think I love assisting. Don't get it wrong. If I can give it to someone to score instead of trying to beat a player and score myself, I will give it, because it's just the odds are higher for them to score, and I would be happy for that. But I do think I need to be a bit more greedy and have a few more shots, and you know, believe in my ability more, and just keep taking people on.
Do you think what Casey said to you about you being the best left winger in the country, do you think that puts pressure on you, or does it give you, obviously it gives you a great boost as well, but does it also put a little bit of pressure on to think, well, if she thinks I'm the best, I've got to play like the best and try things that maybe you're not good at or you're not comfortable at?
At first when she said it, I was a bit taken back because it could have gone either way. I could have thought, like, she now thinks that I'm this and I'm going to have to perform every game. But the way she delivers it and speaks to me in training and is so encouraging, I think it's almost like my head's gone, right, that's amazing, she thinks that, and I have got the potential to be that, so I'm going to train like that every day, and that's what I want to do instead of being pressured into thinking I have to do this and I have to do that. Because even when everyone has bad days, like, you know, and even when we have bad days, it's going to happen. And in training, if I'm having a bad day, she'll be like, it's fine, keep going, just keep doing everything, like, just bring it back down to basics, like, slow it down, She knows how to manage us as players, which is amazing, because I've never had a coach that will do that.
Yeah, the way you talk there reminds me of conversations that people have had with Sir Alex. She's saying to you or about you the best left winger in the country because she knows maybe that's something that will give you confidence, whereas other people she might not say that to because they can't deal with that pressure. She's probably giving you what you can deal with.
Yeah.
And what you need.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, Maisie.
I have no idea what we're going to say.
Sorry. Just rudely interrupted there.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
How have you found this season? Obviously, seven games
in
unbeaten.
He's got it.
I've got it. Before you go to Sam, what's Casey like in the dressing room then at half time? So the game against City, 2-0 down. What's she like in the dressing room? Is she feisty? Is she ripping heads off, hair dryers?
No. Basically, she comes in and she'll say, what do we think? And she'll put the floor out to us as players and say, tell me what you think is going wrong, or tell me what you think is going well, or what we can change, which I think is great because she's given us the chance to put it right before she then tells us how to do it.
Yeah.
I like that because I feel like she believes in us knowing what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, which is good. And I feel like at our age, we should be able to deal with that. She doesn't lose a head unless it needs to be lost. Like, I feel like we were 2-0 down, but she came in and she said, we can still win this game. Like, it's only half time, we're 2-0 down and we can still win it. And your coach coming in and saying that instead of being like, nah, is so much better for us as a team and players, especially me. Like, if my coach comes in and screams at me, I'm like, oh my God. But coming in and saying you can win this, I'm like, yeah, we can win this.
Is it similar to when we used to play that a lot of the time the manager didn't really say a lot, to be fair. He'd let the players say something and then he would say his, 2 or 3 minutes, because you've only got maybe, 12 minutes by the time. Sorry, that's my beer machine. Did you get that task? Yeah. Did you get my beer machine on? Oh, my famous beer machine always makes a noise. You've got maybe 12 minutes. Out of that, you're from the pitch into the dressing room, you have a drink, you sit down. Are you girls at each other all the time in the dressing room saying, well, you should have done that? Or is it a little bit mellow? Do you have ranters?
Not really. We have people who will say points if they think it needs to be, like, no one will say it nastily. It'll just be like, right, we need to do this and this, or you need to come in the pocket more, or you need to go down the line more. It's very informative and good instead of being like, you're at this, you should be doing this. Because I think we respect each other enough to know that that's not going to work. You can see numerous teams that, well, it might work for some people, but I know in our team it's not going to work with any of our players.
Yeah.
And I think it's just knowing your players and your coach knowing your players, which we do. And I think that's why we've been able to figure it out this year.
Yeah.
Well, and it's been great this year. Obviously, 7 games, unbeaten, top of the league. Arsenal only a point behind, so I assume nobody's getting too carried away. But you must be very proud of the start you've all made.
So proud. I mean, it's almost like we should believe that we can do that, but we didn't know it was going to happen. So I think now it gives us so much belief and so much confidence to take what we've done into the next games for the next half of the season.
And do you set yourself personal targets for what you want to achieve over the season? Like you said, you want to score more goals. Do you set yourself a tally that you want to reach or anything?
I don't particularly set certain numbers and stuff because I feel like then I could be too into reaching that certain number. I'll say, like, I want to be more clinical. I want to score more goals as a whole. I want to be more like have more assists. I want to be more involved with play as a roundabout. I won't give any actual numbers because I don't want to look too far into that.
Very sensible.
What have you enjoyed the most? I know it's been difficult, obviously, with the pandemic, but what have you enjoyed most about your time at Manchester United so far?
I think it is meeting the people I've met.
Yeah.
I've got some friends that I know I'm going to be friends with forever. And that makes me the happiest because it's very rare, especially as you get older, like to meet people that you're going to then know forever. Mm-hmm. And obviously we've been in college in America. I met a lot of people, but I'll probably never see them again. Mm. So it's nice to know that I've got people on this team that I will be friends with forever, and they'll be at my wedding, they'll be at my funeral, they'll be everywhere, you know. Like,
right?
Maybe put some time between those events.
Yeah, comes just in that order.
You know, like I know they're going to be there, and that makes me really happy. And I think the best thing is that I'm happy in where I am, as in, like, I've never been so happy playing football.
What would happen if you played against Leeds?
Would smash them.
Is there anybody in the division that you look forward to playing and you think we can't lose against these today?
I mean, our league's so, like, you never know who's going to beat who. So obviously it's difficult to say, but it's always got to be the derby for me. Like, it's a derby. Like, you know that someone's going to get smacked in the face, or there's going to be a fight, or there's going to be something. Like, it's just exciting. And you know that there's so much, like, it's so proud. You're so proud when you win because you know that the city is red. Like, you know that. And you know it's everywhere. Like, you know that everyone knows it. So it's almost like, yeah, obviously we want 3 points from every game, but that game, we're going in and we're doing anything we can.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Also, you're an ambassador for Sports Recruiting USA, right?
Yes. Used to be, kind of still am, but not as much involved anymore.
Is that you're just too busy?
Very, very busy at the moment.
All those double sessions. No time for anything.
I'm walking my dog.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the ideal situation, I suppose. You want to be too busy.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the sports recruiting is amazing because obviously I did the they're going out to America and doing that. And if anyone ever asked me if it was a good idea, I would say, yeah, 100%, hands down, go do it. It changed my life, and I'm pretty sure it would change theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you would like to, if there's some young girls listening to this podcast, which I'm sure there will be, any advice you'd give them? Might not be football, might be another sport, but
I would say be happy in what you're doing. If you're not happy, make sure you really think about it. And if not, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have never done great somewhere I'm not happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do well and you want to do it because you love the game, or you love playing tennis, or you love doing whatever you're doing, make sure you're doing it because you're happy and not because you think you have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Good advice.
It's great advice for life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leah, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed that.